Planning Commission to order. This is a public hearing, and we are the Putnam County Planning Commission. We're the designated local planning agency for the county as prescribed in Chapter 163 of the Florida statutes, and we function under the authority of Article 11 and 12 of the Putnam County Land Development Code. Our primary responsibility is to serve as an advisory body, and to make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners on matters related to provisions of and proposed amendments to the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan and the Putnam County Land Development Code. The members of this board will review each application and make a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners at their next regularly scheduled meeting. Well, it's not the next one, but at their regularly scheduled meeting on January 13th, 2025. Procedurally, we will call each case by name and number. A member of staff will then briefly explain to us the nature of each request. We will then take any comments from the applicant or their representative, followed by public comments concerning the request. Please direct all of your comments or statements to the board and not to other members in the audience. Before speaking, we will ask each person to be recognized, come forward to the lectern, and identify his or herself by name and address. After all persons wishing to speak have been heard, we will entertain a motion from the board, and the motion will be voted on by the board members and become our recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. The Board of County Commissioners will make the final determination in any of the cases. All applicants have the right to withdraw their request at any time during the application process. No cases have been withdrawn. If applicants choose to have their cases heard at a later date, it will have to be re-advertised in accordance with the Land Development Code and Florida statutes. Before we go into our first case, I need to ask, has anyone on the board had any ex parte communication with anyone seeking an application today?
No.
I guess this is no up here?
No, ma'am. No.
Okay. Are there any conflicts of interest that need to be noted?
No, ma'am. No.
All right.
No.
At that point, we will start with REZ 25-000012. And Michael, I think you're up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Michael Graves, Planning and Development Services. This is REZ 25-000012. K&C Properties LLC is requesting a zoning map amendment from Residential 2 to Commercial Intensive C4 on 3.23 acres located at an unassigned location on the north side of Phillips Ferry Road in Palatka to allow for the development of a towing facility and mechanical work facility. Surrounding zonings include Residential 2 with additional Commercial 2, Commercial Retail C2, Commercial Intensive C4, and Commercial General C3 on the south side of Phillips Ferry Road. The subject site has a future land use designation of urban service, and the parcel has approximately 190 feet of access from Phillips Ferry Road. According to the National Wetlands Index Wetlands Layer and the FEMA Flood Zone Layer on the GIS reference map, the lands do not appear to contain wetlands and is located in FEMA Flood Zone X, which is not a special flood hazard area. Should the applicant's request be approved, the applicant will then be subject to review by the Development Review Committee before obtaining any permits for development on the property compatible with the C4 Commercial Intensive Zoning District. Here you can see an aerial view of the property. Please do note that most of the trees have been cleared away already. This is an older photo. Here you can see the future land use, and you'll note the difference between the commercial zone, future land use on the south of Phillips Ferry Road and the urban service to the north. Here you can see the zoning, where again on the north you'll see the Residential 2 zoning district. On the south you can see the purple area is industrial light. The red is a mixture of C2, C3, and recently rezoned to C4. Staff recommends denial of the request to amend the zoning map from Residential 2 to Commercial Intensive C4. Staff finds that the proposed rezoning is not consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the adopted comprehensive plan and does not meet the locational requirements of the Commercial Intensive C4 zoning district provided in the Land Development Code and the comprehensive plan. Are there any questions?
You hear me now? You guys have, does not meet the locational requirements of the commercial intensive. What locational requirements are you guys referring to?
In accordance with the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan policy, intensive commercial development needs to have direct access to more than one collector or greater road. Phillips Dairy Road is, of course, a local road, and this property does not have access to any other roads. The nearest intersection point is at the end of Phillips Dairy Road, at the intersection of the two highways there. Furthermore, the commercial intensive zoning district is supposed to be located in commercial nodal areas, and while the south side of Phillips Dairy Road is considered a commercial nodal area, the north side is not, as it is seen on the future land use map.
Do we have a zoomed out picture of that zoning or the future land use map with the stuff that's to the south there?
I do not have one available here, but I can pull up the GIS map if you would allow.
Please do. And when I was looking at this, I was thinking that if, in our packets, if we could have a more zoomed out map so we could see the local landmarks better, would be very helpful.
We shall try to do that in the future then.
Can I see that zoning layer, please?
Yes, sir. One moment, please.
I was going to say, if you could zoom in on what we just did 2 months ago, or a couple of months ago on Phillips Dairy Road, would be helpful.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry, not used to a trackpad.
Okay. Actually, we probably need to hear
Yeah.
from the applicants first, and then these questions can follow that.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me, having a bit of technical difficulty. So here's the future land use map as originally requested. You can see that along the south side here, there is that commercial block that kind of weaves into the city of Palatka there. The subject property is part of this much larger, if I can get this to behave, urban service block that fills the majority of the enclave to the north of Phillips Dairy Road. In particular, if we go to the zoning map here, and I can get this to behave again. The property that's currently highlighted is, of course, the subject property, where you can see it's residential and surrounded by more residential in every direction other than south. The one that we recently did the rezone for is the one that is now highlighted, where we moved for it to be transferred into commercial 4 due to its proximity to the industrial light adjacent to it, as well as the fact that it is part of the established commercial node as seen on the future land use map.
And the adjacent properties to the subject property, are they they're residential?
Yes, ma'am. Everything you see in yellow there is residential 2 zoned.
Is it occupied as residential?
Yes, ma'am. Several of the properties do have houses on them. If I turn on the aerial, you can see them. We have them here to the north, as well as much along here. Even 144 on that southern bit is occupied by a single-family residence.
Get right across the street is C4
Yes, ma'am.
and light industrial.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're recommending denial because this is not adjacent to anything like that, or?
We're recommending denial on the grounds that it's not part of an existing commercial node. It does not have the direct access to collector or grader roadways, and it would also, by the committee's own definition, fit spot zoning. There was a case earlier this year where Aloha Mora Properties attempted to rezone a property from residential 1 to residential 2, and were denied on the basis that doing so would be spot zoning, despite there being residential 2 across a roadway. It was considered incompatible to cross the road with that.
And the other thing is, I think if this is changed, it goes with the property.
Mm-hmm.
So you do C4, that means a semi can go in there and park.
Okay. I was just curious. Are there any other questions of staff?
All right, now.
Is the owner present and would like to speak? Yes, ma'am. Okay, please come forward and give us your name and address, and tell us what you want to do.
Jason Brown, Phillips Dairy Road. Do you need my current address, or is that okay to use my business address?
You can use your business address.
Currently, I'm looking to expand my business, not my body shop, just my towing business. We do towing locally. We actually do heavy as well, so there will be semis. Picked the location because I drove past it probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it was derelict, been a dumping site. Didn't think much of it. Drove back by it about another 2 years later, still the same way. Ended up contacting the number that was on there. The guy said, man, we just, it looks bad, but it's got huge potential. I couldn't get past seeing all the trash and the dump that had been left there until I walked on it and realized this is a very big lot. This is something that I'm looking for to grow my business. We're a locally owned, family-owned business, have been for many years. My daughter's already coming into the business. My son's a Marine. He's going to be coming back to actually provide mechanical use down the road. We have looked around the spot. It's kind of crazy that you actually brought up semis because the road is Phillips Dairy Road. There's only one company on Phillips Dairy Road that has access to the highway, which is the trucking company. And there's a ditch line that they don't mess with, and that butts up to Highway 100. With my business, I had to look at a lot of different things because I am bringing in semis. I also have Phillips Dairy Road, which goes from 100 and 19. And then if you just step back and look at the map, I think it's the one you're going to have to open it up. There is, and I do apologize, can I pull my phone out?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't take pictures.
No, sir, no, sir, no, sir. If you look at West Palmetto Street, it runs straight into Highway 17. I think that's the one that goes straight, I think that's the one that goes straight to Highway 17. Then there's another one just behind it, which is, I think, West Tolles Road, which is all the way to Highway 17. It's the only true business on that road that has multiple access to, whether it's Highway 17, going to Highway 19, or coming up to Highway 100, is as far as a request for commercial. I looked at those things because, again, I walked this property multiple times. I walked it at night. I walked it on holidays just to see how my neighbors were. Come to find out the neighbors are great, and that they were tired of seeing in the eyesore of dumping, of just a number of different things that were going on. As far as my future, I look to speak with neighbors as far as to, if you're looking at Tolles Road in front of me, or Phillips Dairy Road, to the right of me, I'd love to speak with my neighbor because there is one in front of me that has a small, I'd love to buy him out, just to be that way. And then the one to the right is another big spot that I would love to do, because that is, I think, Ms. Roberts, I hate to ask you, but last time we were here, Key Logging, or Key Hydraulic, you had spoke to them because that is an industrial road. That's the reason why I thought, okay, as far as changing it, it wouldn't be too hard of a process because there is a lot of industrial going on. You have a logging or a trucking company, you have Key Hydraulic there, you have another company which is a septic company there, you have a restaurant down at the right, you have a number of different things. And as far as on that commercial side, I think you said the south side, there is a church and a home. Somebody lives on that side that is zoned or showing for commercial, or however you want to say.
So you envision having a towing company
Yes, ma'am.
that would be bringing vehicles back to this property
Yes, ma'am.
for repair, for maintenance?
Mostly they have been in a wreck. They will be out of the facility within 30 days. We have to file paperwork. They move. They constantly coming in and out. As far as future plan, yes, ma'am, I plan for my son that's going to be coming out of the military within the next 2 to 3 years. He's going to open a mechanic shop, not a body shop, a mechanic shop. He doesn't do all that. That's what he's in the military for
He wants to
right
do
now.
engine repair.
Yes, ma'am. And it won't be just on regular cars that I actually be on, like it's literally right across from me. And then literally beside them, which takes up a huge spot, is a trucking company. So I'm trying to base future for my kids and for my business as to see that there is growth there for what's going on.
You don't envision this becoming what we typically call a junkyard?
Which it was. Funny enough you say that. It had been one time was a mechanic shop and a junkyard. I have cleaned that out. No, ma'am, I do not. If you wanted to come by and see what I currently run, I do have a office and a shop or spot there at St. John's Auto Body that I have been there for how many years, honey? Well over 20. Very well kept. Vehicles are pulled in back. They fluctuate in and out because, again, you have to move cars. They can't derelict sitting. So we crush them, which goes over to John's Metals or to A1, whatever they're called. But very clean. We have 6-foot fence, barbed wire top. We put the fencing around it so that the neighbors don't have to see it. Same thing I plan to do there.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Thank y'all for letting me come up here and try to
Okay.
get this done. Anybody else want to ask a question?
Expand that north a little bit. Just a hair, north, no, the opposite way, south, I guess. I'm sorry. The other north. There you go.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Can I hold that picture for 1 second?
Of course.
So where the, lack of better, where the pink one is, can you bring it down just a little bit? Go up, I'm sorry, up. And over to your, I guess, I'm looking at the trucking company.
Oop.
Because the trucking company,
It's in lavender, yes.
those
This one.
two large parcels, and that is the only one. And then which are right on 100. So the trucking company is the only one that has the current access for commercial, get out as far as that goes.
And Phillips Dairy Road is there.
Just, so Phillips Dairy Road is their primary going in and out, trucking, log trucks, everything. And again, I just looked at mine with the access to 17, twice on 17, coming out if I needed to or if we opened it up. Roads are right up to the property on one of them. There is still a concrete slab there from a prior, whatever business was there until it became too derelict and just fell in. Just so you know, we did take out, I think, several dump loads of tires that have been dumped there. I went ahead and did this preemptive, whether regards did I get this or not. I wanted to clean it. I bought the property to prove a point that we can clean up an area that nobody wanted. They desired it.
Any other questions of the applicant? Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Stay around, we may bring you back up. Mr. Youngs, I see you, or Mr. Young, I see you are the agent for the owner. Would you like to speak? I think my client's covered everything. Okay, thank you. At this point, I'll call for any public comments. I have green cards coming my way. Thank you. Appreciate that, Ashley. Matthew Gilliard. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Matthew Gay. I'm at 507 West Palmetto Street. And one of my concerns today is the road coming off Palmetto, West Palmetto. It's actually got an opening there like an easement, but it's not an easement. It's just where the bushes got cut down at. And it's a lot of older residents in this area, and I definitely would not like a lot of traffic going through there, because it's all residential through there. The other side of the Phillips Dairy Road, I own the other mobile. I own 2 houses over there, actually. I don't want to sell it at this time. Now, as far as the 18-wheelers, they do got one way down the road, but like in our area, there's no bad traffic. And I want to know also, is there any kind of noise ordinance, as far as loud noise late at night, coming in cars, coming in and out?
Well, there would be a required buffer around the property, probably a vegetative buffer to buffer the sound, and that would be required if this were to go through. On all sides of the property would be required to have something as a sound barrier
Right.
to help contain sound. And that's one of the requirements we have in the code. So, but you have property on Phillips Dairy Road as well, you said?
Yes,
On the north side?
on both sides, yes.
Okay.
On the Palmetto side and the Philadelphia Road side.
Okay. We appreciate it. Anything else you'd like to share?
No, that's it, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who, well, I do have other people. I have Cynthia Calloway. Please give us your,
My name is Cynthia Calloway, and I reside at 509 West Palmetto Street. I am the last house on West Palmetto Street. My concerns is our taxes go up. I am a 74-year-old heart patient, and I want to know about that. Palmetto Street, there's a dead end right there. Will that street be opened up to traffic? That's my concerns today.
okay. We thank you.
You're welcome.
And I have Edward Wright.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Edward Wright. I'm at 510 West Palmetto Street.
Could you pull the mic up a little bit? Pull the mic up so you can,
You can hear?
yeah, we can hear you now.
Too tall.
Yeah, I'm at 510 West Palmetto Street, Palatka, Florida, and I'm right next to the property that's being cleaned off. And that was my question: is it going to raise the taxes? And another question is, like that dead end on Palmetto, would that be access again? That'll open up as access?
Okay. I'm not sure we can answer that question. Can we, Michael?
Taxes won't be affected.
Taxes won't be.
Taxes won't be affected, we know that.
Taxes
Don't
are
believe
only
they
go
will be,
by
no,
the
Mayor.
value of
What
your
his-
home, so
What his,
you guys shouldn't see any kind of tax increase
he's
at all.
gonna have to answer whether or not that's gonna be accessible from Palmetto Street.
Well,
But you
I
also
think
gotta-
one of the questions that's probably gonna come up from staff, or at least the things they've addressed, is West Palmetto is probably not an arterial collector
Right.
or major or minor. It's gonna be a neighborhood street, so they probably don't want the commercial access on West Palmetto
Or Oak?
or Oak.
Right,
I mean,
both
those
of
are
them.
neighborhood roads that aren't supposed to be subjected to commercial traffic.
Right.
So,
To provide as best comment that staff can, staff is uncertain about the taxes. We do not assume that they will be. Certain kinds of commercial can raise taxes just because they are, walkable commercial, though this type is unlikely to affect them in that way. When it comes to the access, strictly speaking, it would be unlikely for Development Review Committee to allow access off of either West Palmetto or West Oak. That does not necessarily stop a developer from doing so. If they had a gate there, for whatever reason, they could claim it's for fire emergency. That doesn't necessarily prevent developers from later on using it for ulterior accesses. Not accusing anyone of anything, of course. It's just one of the facts of development that we can't police everything all the time.
They closed the road. They closed the road back on Oak Street. When I bought it, they had closed it, and then they closed the road right there at West Oak because it's the road being closed. So that'll be then coming in on my property.
yeah,
Now,
if that's
is-
been vacated, you gotta put a fence up on it.
There's a lot between West Oak and that lot too.
Yeah. Are we looking at city or county?
It's county.
County.
We're all county there, okay. You never know when you're looking at Palatka. Close this close
That's
in,
my property on the back of West Oak.
right.
So if I zoom in a bit here on the map, trying to make it behave for us, of course, you will see that there is this little gap between the two yellow areas here. That is the dedicated but never developed road that would be between the current person's property and the subject property. Strictly speaking, that as it was never developed, it could potentially be vacated, though that would be up to the owners surrounding that road to vacate it, including both the applicant for this rezone and the current commenter, as you own the property on the other side.
Thank you, that's what I want to know.
Okay. I only have 3 cards, but is there anyone else who would like to speak? Just bring your card up or hand your card to one of the staff. And if you would, ma'am, please state your name and address for the record.
Linda Hall, and I live at 313 Elm Avenue in Palatka. And my concern is I got property on one side near Phillips Dairy Road, and the mobile home that I live in faces Elm Avenue. And my concern is, well, our taxes will mainly go up. That's what my main concern about that is.
I honestly don't think you guys are gonna be subjected.
Huh?
I don't think you guys are gonna be subjected to any tax increase. That goes with the value of your property that you live on, not the value of the surrounding properties. I think you guys are gonna be perfectly fine. I don't think y'all will see an increase in taxes as it relates to this. Now, hopefully our governor gets through with the 2026 election and gets rid of property taxes altogether, and then this won't even be an issue at all, so.
Well, you still got
We
the
can only
school.
pray.
My concern
But from a strictly from a property, you know, having owned a bunch of properties over the past, development next to you doesn't necessarily increase your property value and make your taxes go up. You guys, unless you do some sort of improvement on your own lot, you guys
Right.
shouldn't be subjected to any kind of tax increase.
Well, I'm 79 years old, and I ain't got time to
Like I
be
said,
trying to move around and stuff.
Hopefully, everything will go our way in 2026 and there won't be any property taxes and this will not be an issue.
We thank you for coming up, Ms. Hall.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other people that would like to speak, I will close the public hearing portion. You would like to speak again? Yes, sir, you may come up. Please restate your name and address.
Jason Brown, Phillips Dairy Road. My proposal isn't to be using these side roads. My proposal is just Phillips Dairy Road. That's where I want my road frontage. That's where my business will come towards. I am gonna state that I did look into different things. As far as changing my property, that goes to commercial, that, yes, mine will go up. My taxes will go up because I'm requesting that.
Absolutely.
Or if I stayed, which this is actually slated, and it shows in the past where it was a mobile home park for, how many? 20 some odd mobile homes to go in there. If I were to do that, or to put houses into there, then yes, the taxes around those folks, if I go through with that proposal, your taxes will go up. I'm going to check to make sure. But that's why I wasn't, so it doesn't. So once I improve my land use with new homes and build the houses into it, it would cause the ones around it for that to happen, if I went to building new homes. That's what I'm kind of curious of, because that wasn't my plan, but I had 3 plans. And I going into something, I wanted to make sure if it didn't work, then what was my future? So my future was to develop the area. It had already been site planned for mobile homes. It showed it how it set out and how they were going to come back and talk to owners that were right next to you to find out about that. Sorry, I'm not supposed to do that. Sorry.
No, you're not.
Sorry, the easement that's in between my neighbor and me. They were going to use that, and it shows it on the future piece where they were going to use it as an entrance for a residential area. So that's why when I did this, I didn't just go hastily to go do it. I actually tried to ask as many questions, go to as many neighbors, find out what was going on, see what their thoughts were, see my area, my surrounding, what was going on these roads that I would want to maybe go to 17. So, I mean, and I've already proved to myself I did bring my truck into my property. I wanted to make sure that whatever I did, it would accommodate anything that I needed. I know that. I have a semi. I drove it in, made my roundabout and parked it just to make sure. But my sole use is the same thing that Key Hydraulic, the trucking company, the porta potty or whatever that, I think it's not porta potty, I'm sorry. Who is it? Thomas Wall Plumbing, I think it is. Everybody uses that because it is a heavy use road for logging company trucks or for others. So I just didn't want anybody thinking I'm trying to use these other roads, because that's not my plan. I will get with my neighbor, because I would like him and I to buy what is that called, an easement? I would like to buy it. I'd like for him to have property and me take the chunk to where that is to that road if there was ever a need or for some reason an emergency, strictly for what I do for law enforcement, for fire department and things like that. Otherwise, it's not a common use road. I don't want my stuff over there. There's children, there's things like that. Not to throw myself under the bus. My truck wants to come in where it's used to. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that my plan was Phillips Dairy Road. Road frontage and that's where I want to be at.
Okay,
So thank you.
appreciate it. All right, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing portion of this meeting and bring it back to the board for discussion and possible action.
What are we looking at right there, Michael, you got on the board there? Is that a existing recorded subdivision?
Yes, sir. I brought this up when he was talking about the mobile home park. Just for clarification, it is not a mobile home park. It is a type 1 subdivision known as Fox Grove that is in the R2 zoning district as of right now. And each of these lots could theoretically support one single-family residence, be it mobile, modular, or traditional site built.
Do they have water and sewage in that area?
I am unfamiliar, as that would be the city of Palatka's utilities. From past experience, I believe they do at
I
least
don't
have
believe that they
sewer.
do. I've been out in that area. I don't believe that they have water and sewage, so that mobile home park would never happen.
Again, it's not a mobile home park, it is a subdivision, and strictly speaking, because those are lots of record, as a recorded subdivision, they do bypass the requirement for utilities to be centralized. They could have well and septic on each of those.
I don't think it needs setbacks.
Okey dokey. What is the board's pleasure?
Well, I think I understand where the board's coming from on this, because we touched on some residential on one side of the road and commercial on the other on that deal on 207. I think unlike the deal on 207 is Phillips Dairy Road's a smaller road. It's easier to cross that road than it is to cross with use across 207. I like the fact that there's industrial stuff, C4 stuff, C2 stuff all in this location. It only seems logical that if we're going to allow those kind of things to go on there, that's a good place to keep everything centralized. I mean, I do understand the crossing the road into that residential stuff, but it sounds like the complaints from the neighbors aren't that it's going to be a commercial use. It sounds like the complaints from the neighbors are increased traffic on
Palmetto.
neighborhood roads, which DRC should address and as part of the development there, not allow, or, make informed that if this goes forward, that those things are not to be allowed on those neighborhood roads. The primary access is Phillips. To the point that the staff denied on the property issues, we should have seen that same denial in the Key Hydraulics thing come up, and it didn't, because Key Hydraulics doesn't have access to 17. It's C4 or industrial or whatever we switched it to, with only one access to Phillips Dairy. So if it doesn't apply in that situation, I don't see how it should apply here.
I concur with that. The only other thing that I would say is, I think that if we recommend approval, that we state that that Phillips Dairy Road should be the only egress for that property if it goes to C4.
I agree with that.
And I also believe that if we don't do it, and he decided he wanted to do residential, that's gonna provide a whole lot more traffic in that area
Yeah.
than a truck
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, it's gonna make Phillips Dairy Road way worse with that.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
if I may, I just want to remind the commission that as much as it's a good idea to limit the access to Phillips Dairy, we can't actually make that part of the recommendation because it would be conditional, and we can't do conditions on a zoning map amendment. But DRC
We could have it as
will
a-
address the roadways and any sort of site plan review should this go forward.
Well, it looks like there's not really a roadway there that extends onto this property. It's just like an easement.
They do have,
That's a
and
road.
It's a
Mr. Graves
road.
pulled it down.
It is a ro-
They're-
it is a road,
Undeveloped,
it's
yeah.
just never
I mean-
been developed properly.
Ideally, Mr. Brown would get with the adjacent landowners there and close that that would give him an additional landscape buffer. It would give everybody that's adjacent to him additional property and close that road altogether. And then that way, you don't have to worry about that traffic coming in. But, you know, I think as long as we've got it on record at this level, that DRC needs to do something about it, even though it's not part of the condition, that, you know, we've got it on the record, hey, we need to address this at DRC level. I think that's sufficient. So,
And I think the fact that he's planning on, or he has already fenced the entire property, you're planning on fencing the entire property with only one gate. So there won't be any way to get across the fence unless you go through the front gate. So,
and that'll be something that DRC can,
But again, if he sells this property, it belongs to somebody else. They can do whatever they want with C4, unless DRC states.
true.
C4 is a pretty wide open category.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
DRC is not able to limit uses either. All DRC could say is that his development meets the code requirements for his specific development. If then 5 years later he does end up having to sell it to somebody, whether he wants to now or not, and they decide that they want to put a truck stop in there, then DRC would have to allow them as long as they could meet the requirements.
But regardless, he's gonna have to meet landscape buffers. Right.
Correct.
And
For the
setbacks.
C4 zoning district, that is a Class C buffer that is 10 feet wide. It is a 6-foot tall privacy-style fence. Barbed wire is not allowed within 100 feet of a residential zoning district. And a row of evergreen trees placed one every 20 feet. That is 8 feet tall at minimum at time of planting. Strictly speaking, with a Class C buffer, that fence should be upgraded to a solid masonry wall, though in the past DRC has allowed for solid fences to be replacing the masonry wall.
But those are going to be requirements going forward to use
That would
this
be
land.
for any C4 zoning district.
Okay. Mr. Hafner, what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of in agreement with what Justin said. You know, you look at a parcel like this and you try to look into the future to imagine what could happen with it. Oh, sorry about that. I forget about these microphones. Anyway, I just don't know that the parcel lends itself to any other kind of development, and I'm kind of in favor of maybe moving this thing along and just having the access off of Phillips Dairy Road there.
Stanley?
All I see is noise. It's pretty heavy. There's some pretty heavy trucks all across the street there, a bunch. And a bunch of trailers, semi-trailers, a bunch. So
You
Other than that-
live behind St. John's Towing. How's the noise from St. John's Towing?
I'm a little far away from that.
Can I? My wife and my daughter run, can I speak? I apologize. My wife and my daughter run the business from 8:30 to 5. They're there at the office. Once 5 o'clock comes, I'm in there. Now granted, I may have to go up there and change a tire on my record. That's my business. I have to keep running. I'm not up there running or working all nights of the hour. Last night, we had 3 major accidents. Don't know if y'all know them, but that's fine. Okay? When I get them, I come in. I'm respectable for all the neighbors that are behind me currently right now. I used to have the former mayor, Carl Flagg, which lived in my corner. Never once did he ever come over and say, Jay, it's getting a little loud. We're having parties. None of those things. What I did have was Mr. Carl Flagg, when he left, he said, you know, you've been such a good neighbor. Those 2 little spots that he could never do anything with, I ended up buying those from him. That yard is just not big enough for the growth that this town is getting ready to have, because we've multiple things coming in the south end, right here in town, which is, there's growth coming in. Between the housing and everything else, I'm just trying to find a reasonable spot without upsetting my neighbors, making it an eyesore. Now granted, I think, did you say 10-foot tall concrete wall?
6 foot.
6 foot. If it goes to have a 6-foot concrete wall, I'm out. That's a lot of money to encase a piece of
You
property
have
with
to
a
put up a
10
6-foot barrier.
chain link fence, yeah.
No,
If he were
It would
to
have
do-
to-
Chain link.
Chain link fence.
It would have
It's
to
gotta
be
be solid.
privacy style
It can
minimum.
be a 6-foot wooden wall,
Okay,
or it can be a vegetative.
So I would have to come
it's a
back to you all and
combination of
discuss that as well.
No, what would happen is at the DRC stage, you would be given your buffer requirement,
Okay.
which would be a Class C, I believe it's 30C, which means 30 feet wide, excuse me for my earlier statement, which is a row of evergreen trees every 20 feet, 8 feet tall,
Yep.
with a fence or solid wall or berm or vegetated buffer 6 feet tall at time planting.
Chain link without barbed wire.
No barbed wire, and it can't be chain link. It has to be a solid wall of some kind,
Okay.
either masonry or wood or plastic or what have you. But
If I do this wall, understand that I am in a business of carrying all of y'all's cars if you got in a wreck. I'm required by law to keep them safe, and a wooden fence, I can put my foot through it. Okay, in order to do a chain link fence, I've either climb it, go to the barbed wire,
Well,
or cut it.
There's nothing saying you can't put a chain link fence inside. You have to
Okay.
have the wooden fence or barrier there for this.
So I'm gonna have to double
to
fence,
prevent-
or
well, I
double,
mean,
that's between me, yes.
And,
That's
and
your-
let's,
that's
let's let these details go to DRC.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
But there will be buffer requirements, just so you understand it.
yes, ma'am.
And we've got another gentleman wishing to speak, so please come back up and give us your name and address again. And hold the mic close to you.
My name's Edward Wright at 510 West Palmetto Street, Palatka, Florida. But what he's saying is, it's already a buffer between his property and our property. It's a vegetation buffer. But
There's an
They're
easement.
just saying DRC is gonna have some specific requirements to make sure he separates himself from y'all and make sure that he adheres to those.
Right.
Not saying that the stuff that's in place won't suffice for it. There's just gonna be some additional requirements that he has to
do.
protect you guys from whatever's gonna go onto his
Yeah,
property.
got that. But I'm
That's what it
saying though, and they were saying the noise, we already got noise
All up and down the road.
up and down the road. So his noise ain't gonna make a difference.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, his noise.
So
ain't
you
gonna
guys
make a
don't sound like y'all are really, as neighbors, against what's going on, what he's asking to do there. You guys just don't want your taxes to go up
Right.
and
That's the
make sure
main
you
thing.
guys get considered right there, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
All right, yeah.
All right.
All right, good.
Okay. I would be happy to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve REZ 25-000012 as it consistent with goals and objectives, policies, and comprehensive plan of Putnam County.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? I'll call for the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All opposed, like sign. The first step is through. Now you go to the county commission on January 13th.
You got the easy part done.
So you've got the next wave. And then if they approve it, you on to DRC. What's the acreage on this?
3 point.
It's under 10 acres, so it will only go before Board of County Commissioners once, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
3.23 acres.
Okay,
And you could also,
yep. Yeah. And you may have questions you want to ask of the tax assessor's office, just so for your peace of mind, you'll know what your taxes are going to look like. So, but we appreciate your time. We appreciate everyone coming out and exercising their civil rights and civil authority. Without you, it would just be a bland meeting. And we like seeing our neighbors. So at this point, I'll go on to the second case, REZ 25-000013. And Ethan, I think, is presenting this one.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Planning Commission. For the record, Ethan Thompson, Planning and Development Services, presenting REZ 25-000013. Putnam County is requesting a zoning map amendment from industrial light to public use light on a 1.83 acre parcel, which is located at 125 West McCormick Road over in East Palatka, to allow for greater development on the property. Things like playground equipment do not require permits, but a map amendment would be required before the parcel would be eligible for any building permits for other amenities. Adjacent and surrounding zonings include industrial and residential. Future land use designation of industrial. The parcel has approximately 293 feet of access on West McCormick Road and approximately 273 feet of access from South Maryland Avenue. Per the wetlands layer and the FEMA flood zone layer on the GIS reference map, the land does not appear to contain any wetlands and is located within FEMA flood zone X, which is not a special hazard flood area. Should the applicant's request be approved, the applicant will then be subject to review by the DRC before obtaining any permits for development on the property that are compatible with the P1 zoning district. Here is an aerial of the property. Future land use, zoning, zoning, FEMA flood zone, and no wetlands, so no wetlands map. Staff recommends approval of the request to amend the zoning map from industrial light to public use light. Staff finds that the proposed rezoning is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the adopted comprehensive plan and meets the locational requirements of the public use light zoning district provided in the Land Development Code and the comprehensive plan. Are there any questions?
Any questions? All right, Ms. Young, would you like to speak? Representing the county?
You can put the mic down.
Appreciate you. You're always here to help me, aren't you?
You need to get on your husband for abandoning you while you had to stay in here and he just walked out.
Yeah.
Well, I really think we should probably reorder the process here, but you know, that's for another day and another discussion. So good afternoon. I appreciate your time. Julian Young, Putnam County Board of County Commissioners, Deputy County Administrator. Here this morning, this is actually a parcel of land that was donated to the county from the Hedstrom and Biedenball families for the development of a community park. The history of the property is it was previously in a community association. The stipulations of that donation, which we received about a year ago, was that we erect the play structure that's there, just a simple playground, and that we have a sign dedicating it at Biedenball Park. Those two things have been done. As you will see if you're in the area, we'd like to develop some additional play features and infrastructure at that park for the community's use. We're in the process of a pickleball court being developed. And this particular reason that we're here today is we'd like to make sure that we have some ability to put some shade structures over some of those things. So with that, I'll take questions.
Any questions of Ms. Young?
Good idea.
Yep,
Thank you, sir.
it's a good park. Thank you. All right. I don't see anyone from the general public who would like to speak either for or against this particular application. So I will close the public hearing portion of the meeting and bring it back to the board. Any discussion from the board?
I don't think so. I like seeing the move there. I mean, the beating balls were, critical over there in East Palatka. I missed that Brunner's isn't there. They got a lot of my money over the years, and we hated that they're gone. But, yeah, I think it's great for what they're doing there. I like to see the step down from industrial to the public use there in that little residential neighborhood. So, yeah.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion. I move we recommend that the Board of County Commissioners that we approve rezoning of REZ 25000013 as it is consistent with the goals and objectives policies of the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign for opposed? Chair votes aye. Thank you very much for bringing this to us.
Thank you.
And thank you for having the park for Mr. Biedenball. He was a fine man. All right, case REZ 25-000014.
Yes, ma'am. Once again, for the record, Ethan Thompson, Planning and Development Services, presenting REZ 25-000014. Crill's Properties LLC is requesting a zoning map amendment from C2, RE, and C3 to C3 on a 2.52 acre parcel, which is located at 149 South Highway 17, again in East Palatka, to allow for contiguous commercial development. Adjacent and surrounding zonings include commercial, residential, and public use. The subject site has a future land use designation of commercial and urban service. It has approximately 330 feet of access off South Highway 17 and approximately 206 feet of access on Walton Road. According to the wetlands layer and the flood zone layer on the GIS reference map, the land does not appear to contain any wetlands and is located within flood zone X, which is not special hazard. Should the applicant's request be approved, the applicant will then be subject to review by the DRC before they can obtain any permits for development on the property that are compatible with the C3 zoning district. Here is an aerial of the property. Got the future land use map as well as the zoning map and the flood zone. Staff recommends approval of the request to amend the zoning map from commercial to RE and C3 to C3. Staff finds that the proposed rezoning is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the adopted comprehensive plan and land development code and meets the locational requirements of the commercial 3 zoning district, which is in the land development code and comprehensive plan. That was messy, sorry. Any questions?
I see that.
What was the purpose of the rezone?
What is the purpose of the rezone? Just to combine the properties and get them all into the same zoning heading?
Ultimately, yes, ma'am. They owned, at the time, they owned the parcel that fronts on Walton Road and the parcel that fronts on 17, and they were 2 separate parcels. After they applied for the rezone, they combined them into one, but ultimately the goal is for the entire parcel to be zone C3. They're an outdoor shed sales company, and they wanted to be able to utilize the land in that way.
I saw that they'd crossed out portable sheds on their application. So this would be a sale and showroom or?
Yeah, I think the primary objective is to function as the sales area, less about the construction of it, I think. I'm not totally clear on what the full objective is. I wasn't in on that pre-application meeting. But the consistent zoning helps them with what it is that they sell.
So everything would go to C3?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I see no applicant here. I see no public here. So we won't be needing a public hearing and we won't hear from the applicant. Concerns from the board?
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer there. That whole corridor there is selling metal and handy houses and sheds, and I mean, I think it's right. It's in line with what's going on there. The fact that none of the neighbors are in here complaining about it, I mean, that's...
That intersection is terrible.
The Walton Road intersection?
Yes, ma'am. If you try to turn back left, it's ugly.
Oh, yeah.
But it has no concern. I'm just stating a fact.
I think that'll be a bridge for DRC to burn when they get ready to do something there.
I don't think there's anything you could do.
There are residences that go all the way down to the river coming off of Walton Road.
Yes, many.
And where would the ingress, do we know where the ingress would be for this property?
It'd have to be off of Walton Road.
Okay.
DOT typically does not allow curb cuts for anything off of the state roads. So more than likely it'll have to be off Walton Road.
Madam Chair, may I speak to that too, please?
Yes, sir.
During your site visits, you might have noticed that there's a building under construction there. We went through the Development Review Committee process back in 2023 when Austin Strickland owned that property. And he was approved for an office and storage for like metal roofing sales. The access ended up being approved about somewhere between 50 and 75 foot down on Walton Road. Of course, this property owner, before they start putting up all of their sheds for their storage and display of the commodity, they'll have to go back through DRC as well and make sure they meet all its setbacks and they have appropriate number of parking spaces And again, we'll look at the ingress egress to the site to make sure it still is compatible with the land development code. Of course, Ethan's kind of mentioned the elephant in the room. It is a DOT road, so while staff can recommend that they curb cut, if DOT prevents them from doing so because of all the other existing curb cuts and rights of way that are there, then they're going to be forced to take access either from Walton Road or, in a very extreme scenario, have to establish a cross-access easement between Tractor Supply, the vacant property in the middle, and then their property. So the access is very much a up-in-the-air concern right now.
DOT has.
There already is a curb cut. The peanut guy sits on the curb cut.
Well, and DOT has a variance process also that I know from another project.
That's not
I've
our
been
concern
involved in
anyway.
the last
We
couple
got
of months,
nothing to
but
do with that anyway.
DOT's the same as us. If you have a hardship there where, you know, you're needing access, they have a process in place for, even if you don't meet the DOT regulations, you can apply for a variance and involve situations like this. So just because DOT said no initially doesn't mean that it might not eventually have access from the highway there. But Neil Strickland Roofing office already has commercial access from Walton Road right there in that same block, so.
Down a ways. Mr. Suggs, did you want to speak?
Already said hey to everybody.
Good afternoon, Mr. Roberts and fellow committee members. I would stand here today if
Name and address, please.
I will. I'd stand here today as Terry Suggs at 133 Walton Road and not as the county administrator. So we have absolutely no issue with property rights and things of that nature, but we would ask for us to be cognizant of the fact that once you turn off of 17, everything back there is residential. Both sides of that road, all the way back to the river, is residential. The only concern that I've had that I've seen since I've lived there is when you pull out of that particular piece of property, because they've been in and out with vehicles already, it blocks the road for a right-hand turn off of 17 onto Walton Road. That's the only concern that I and my neighbors have. They've come to me to talk to me about it. So that'd be the only thing that we would have a concern with, or I have a concern with, is the ability to access Walton Road from 17 when there's a vehicle coming out of that driveway. And if they're gonna be pulling trailers in and out of there, it's gonna block that road. There's not enough room there for them to get across and out Walton Road without blocking that right-hand turn lane.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Any questions of the board? Any discussion? I'll bring it back and close public hearing. I'll bring it back to the board for discussion and action.
Well, I can see where, when they pull off at the present time, but they can move it back more toward the, I guess that'd be the south. I don't know, yeah, the south end of that lot. But that's not for us to determine anyway. The property is in a good spot for C3 zoning.
And DRC, when they review it, they could require a turn lane off of Walton Road onto that property
I
at the
believe
owner's
so.
expense.
I don't think they're going.
Yes, ma'am.
They could do anything. But I think that's one of the issues they need to be very cognizant of at the time, if this passes, when it goes to DRC. Because I can see that there would be congestion there coming off of Walton Road with all the houses down there, especially early in the morning, late in the afternoon. All right. What's the board's pleasure?
Yeah, I think access is gonna be one of those things that gets worked out at DRC, but I don't see how it would be impossible there. We certainly do need to be concerned with the neighborhood there, but I'm gonna make a motion, we approve REZ 25000014 as it's consistent with goals and objectives of Putnam County Comprehensive Plan Land Development Code.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Do I hear a second? Mr. Hafner seconded. All right. Any further discussion? I'll call for the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Chair votes aye. Thank you very much, and we're going to place our faith in the DRC. Is there a business to come before the board, Mr.? And Zach, it's 5 o'clock. Okay. Zach needs to leave at 5 for another obligation. No other old business? Is there any new business to come before the board? All right, hearing none, let's move to the approval of the minutes from the September 10th meeting.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Okay. Stanley? Do I hear a second?
I didn't read them, but I'll second it.
That's not a tough one.
I wasn't here.
How are we gonna
Okay.
talk about that?
All right. I heard it. All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, chair votes aye.
By the way, that's on recording.
Yeah, it hit the mic. Well, his mic's not on, so. Oh, it was, okay. You were here. All right. Any future mistakes in those minutes, we're going to hold you accountable. Okay, it is 5:02, and I'll call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.